Oh.
Andrew.
No. Okay, you know.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay, just stop.
I just did like this. You gotta spell one.
No, I don't. Is that what I need to do? I guess. Not that that works either for some people.
Black is still there.
Well, damn.
I don't like that color.
Okay. So the biggest thing when you're dealing with words is you have to decipher what is your starting point and what is going to change every time. What is your slope? So it says a restaurant charges a reservation fee of $15 for its party room plus $21.50 per person.
One person?
Oh,
Salute.
honey, you want my catering bill for my wedding? I swear it was like $45 a plate.
Oh my God.
Yes, they are ridiculous in fees.
You did that.
I've got a choice.
For what?
You want people to show up to your wedding? Sabi, pick your head up, take your hood off your head, please. Okay, so what is the base fee? What is never gonna change? $15. So that is gonna be your starting point. That's your y-intercept. Okay, that's what's not going to change. Okay, so what's my slope then? 2150. This is your slope.
21.
Okay, so my equation then is y equals your slope, so 2150 times x plus 15. Okay, remember your slope is always what's multiplied against your independent variable, which is your x. And your y-intercept is always what is added at the end, because that's your starting point. Mx plus b. Okay, let statements. You need to tell them what x represents and what y represents. So what does x represent in this problem? The people. Okay, 2150 per person. So x is the number of people. What is y going to represent?
21.
The fee. How much money are you paying?
21.
Okay, so this is your fee. Okay. That's what they mean when they say let statements. They want to know what does each variable represent. That way when I give you either a fee or the amount of people, you know where to put it. Okay, you need to know what variable to replace. Okay. So, the question is, if your bill was $445, how many people were at the party? Okay, so I need to use my equation and plug in what they give me. Where am I putting 445 though?
X. No.
Is 445 your fee or your amount of people?
People. No, fee.
That's your fee. 445 is how many dollars you're spending. So you're plugging that in for Y. Okay. So your equation's going to look like, instead of Y, we're putting in 445, 2150x plus 15. Miss Blackwell, I put her stuff over there already stapled together. Okay, so I need to figure out how many people I have that cause me to have $445 in fees. So, not first. What do I need to get rid of first to get X by itself? Subtract the 15. So $430. It's $21.50. Now what do I need to do? Divide by $21.50. Since you don't have calculators, I will do this. 430 divided by 21.50, 20. So X equals 20. So 20 people, for 20 people that you invite to your party, you would pay $445.
Y'all better bring y'all own money.
What if you don't have no friends? Who pay? No friends.
I guess you're only paying $15 to feed yourself.
Why? I ain't gonna Chuck E. Cheese.
Amen. Well, that sounds really good right now.
I went to Chuck E. Cheese over the weekend, like 2 weekends ago.
We should go to Chuck E. Cheese and eat pizza and talk about fractions.
One of those like toy things.
We could turn it into a math
You
thing.
know what I'm talking about?
The more
Chuck E.
I feel like
Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
You know those
And we could talk about fractions with pizzas.
Chuck E. Cheese.
If I-
Sixties is disgusting.
Like the playhouse.
That doesn't sound too bad.
It does.
Chuck E. Cheese.
All right. What if I give you a table? Okay. What if I give you a table? How do I write an equation from this table? I need to first figure out an x-intercept if I have one, a y-intercept if I have one, and what is my slope? Okay. So what do you want to start with? You want to start with the y-intercept. So if we want to start with the y-intercept, I have to figure out what happens when x is 0. If you want your y-intercept, I need to know what happens when x is 0.
Oh. 0?
It's not going to be 0 this time.
Well, first we gotta figure out what's the
I'd probably figure out your slope first. When you're given a table where you don't have your y-intercept, I would figure out your slope first. So what's my change in y? Somebody said it over there. 70. Plus 70. It's going up by 70, so it's plus 70. What's happening in my x's? Increase by 10. Or by 10. 2. Sorry. Okay. So if my y is increasing by 70 and my x is increasing by 2, what's my actual slope? 35.
It changed at the bottom.
Okay, so your value is 70 over 2, which is 35. What does this mean? 35 what per what?
35.
Remember, it's changing y over changing x. So what does y represent? The weight. So 35 pounds per plate. Okay. what they're talking about here are those weights that they put on the end of a dumbbell to make it heavier.
That's like,
Okay. So every plate that they put on the dumbbell is 35 pounds. Apparently they don't know what a 5 pound and a 10 pound is because they do have those too. Okay. But in this instance, every plate that they're adding onto the dumbbell is 35 pounds. Okay. So to go up by 2, we add 70. So to go backwards by 2, we're going to subtract 70. So what is my y-intercept? What? 45. Okay. So your y-intercept is 45. Okay. Your y-intercept is 45. What does that mean? Your x is 0. 45 pounds for what? Total weight for what? How many plates do I have on it at my y-intercept?
0.
I don't have any plates. So what does 45 actually represent? 45 pounds.
The weight of the bar.
The weight of the bar before you put anything on it. Perfect. So before I put any weights, the bar weighs 45 pounds. Okay. Am I going to have an x-intercept in this problem? Guys, the conversations in here are why you come in here and say, I don't understand. Because you're too busy talking about everything other than what we're doing in this classroom. From now on, every time I have to address you, we're going to step outside and call your parents. And you can explain to them why your grade is the way it is. Will there ever be an instant when my y value is 0, where I have no weight at all? No. Unless you're going to make the bar disappear, like you're a magician, it's never going to happen. You don't have an x-intercept in this problem. There will not be one.
Can you just write none instead of-
You can write none instead of putting x. So my equation would be y equals, remember it's slope times x plus the starting weight. Okay, so no matter what I put in, you're going to have at least 45 pounds there. That's the bar itself before I put anything on it. Believe it or not, if you don't have muscles, that bar actually hurts your arms when you try to lift it without weights. What?
This one guy was trying to lift weights, like you know the leg press.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying. It broke his leg, and it's like let's say
He had too much weight on it
Yeah,
and
let's
it
say-
like
let's
snapped
say-
his leg.
Yeah, let's say like this was his leg, right?
Uh-huh.
And his kneecap's right here. His leg bent in like that.
Ooh.
Both of them.
Ooh, that's
At the one
ooh.
scene.
Ooh. So it kind of like bent backwards at his knee?
His leg
Oh.
was touching his chest.
Ooh, Rayvon. Ooh. That's creepy. All right. Take a look at this one. This time they gave us a graph. Driving a truck.
Your starting point is 200.
Okay. So Brenda says my starting point is 200. Okay. My starting point is 200. So that's my y-intercept. So what does that represent? 200 what? Fuel in what? Gallons. So before you drive anywhere, you have 200 gallons in your tank. So you have 200 gallons at the beginning of your trip. That must be a big rig. 'Cause I don't know any vehicle other than that would carry 200 gallons of gas. My tank holds 16. Yeah, a car usually doesn't hold any more than like.
I was confused with something about that.
Oh, no.
I'm serious.
Oh, yeah. I'm driving one of those big ones.
Wait, can that take on that much?
The big tractor trailer trucks, yeah, they're gonna hold gallons upon gallons of gas. You think about it, a lot of them drive across country. They'll drive from New York to California.
And they're heavier.
Yes.
But people's houses, you don't.
All right, what else do we know about this? It's decreasing, so my slope should be negative. What's it decreasing by? Okay, hold on, it's decreasing by 20. So 20 over 2. So it's actually 10. It's decreasing by 20 gallons and 2 hours. So how many gallons am I losing an hour? 10. So we're losing 10 gallons per hour. Whoops. I should have had that at slope. My bad. I put it in the wrong spot, guys. Losing 10 gallons per hour. Gallons? Okay. Do I have an x-intercept at this problem? 20. Okay. Where does it cross the x-axis? Well, it crosses at 20. What does that mean? At 20 hours,
You lose.
I have what in my tank? 0. So after I've driven 20 hours, I'm out of gas.
Wait.
If you look at it, when I hit my X, I'm at 20 hours and I'm at 0 gallons. So that means if I drive 20 hours straight, I will run out of gas. So in 20 hours, the truck is out of gas.
Wait, this what's it called? Those diesel trucks,
Yes, the big rigs, the 4-wheelers. I don't even know. I don't know how much an actual like dump truck holds. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're definitely more than a car, but I don't think they're as much as an 18-wheeler. I'm sure an airplane would actually have to. I don't know. We might have to do some research. They do, but I wonder how much they actually hold on an airplane.
Oh, yeah.
How many gallons an airplane
They gotta be a
holds.
lot.
We might have to do some research after this. Okay. Find this one next. We'll glue in way at the end today. We're going to glue in way at the end today. Find this one next. Writing slope-intercept forms using a table. Okay, so when we're trying to find slope, I'm trying to find your change in y over your change in x. Okay, I know it seems like we're on repeat, but the more we do this, the easier it will get. Your y-intercept is going to be when x is 0. What is my y value or my starting point? Okay. So let's take a look at this. This is my first table. All we're going to look at in this one is tables and how to come up with the equation from a table. Okay. So right now, my change in y is 4, negative 4. It's going down. And plus 10 in my x. So my slope is negative 4 over 10, which reduces down to what? Negative 2 over 5. Is there a reason we're not sitting down? Please have a seat. Okay. This is a fraction. You all hate fractions.
Oh my God.
So there is another way that you can find the y-intercept so you don't have to use the table and work backwards. Okay. So right now, your equation looks like y equals, we know my slope is 2/5 x plus b. Remember, my y-intercept is b. I don't know what that is. Okay, but I can find it. Okay. The way you find it is we have to take one of those points, any point you want from that table, and we need to plug it in here. So pick a point. 44. Okay, so he wants to use this point here, which means x is 44 and y is 12. He's got to make this extra, doesn't he? Okay, so y is 12 and x is 44. I would have definitely picked some smaller numbers there, Husto. Way to go, friend. So, negative 2/5 times 44 is actually negative 17.6. So 12 equals negative 17.6 plus b. Okay. How do I get b by itself then? Not subtract. It's negative, so to move it, we actually have to add.
19.6.
Not 19.6, friend.
You just made me write 19.6.
What's 12 plus 17.6? 29.6. Okay. So your equation then is actually y equals negative 2/5 x plus 29.6.
This is a lot. Right. Dang.
Again, not to discourage you, but it's only going to get harder from here on out. Math 2 is twice what you do in Math 1, and Math 3 is twice what you do in Math 2.
There's some math with me.
Yes. And you have to have all 3 to graduate plus a 4th math.
But what if you don't pass them all?
They're going to put you back in it until you do.
No, I'm
Next
not,
year.
You can always stay in high school till you're 22. I'm not about to stay in high school.
Well,
till
you
I'm
better
22.
figure out a way to pass it, friend.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna start paying.
I'll just drop out.
I'm gonna start paying.
Hey, what? How old do you gotta be to get kicked out of school?
Okay, we don't need to talk about that right now, Andrew.
No, you told me you were gonna stay here till you're 87.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, take a look at this one. What information can you get straight from this table?
0.
0,3.
0,3 is my y-intercept.
See, now we're starting.
Your slope is what? 2 over 1. Remember, it's changing y. So it's 2 over change in x, which is 1. So my equation is y equals 2x plus 3.
Can we just put 2 over 1 instead of 2?
Yes, you can do 2 over 1x. Okay, it's the same thing. Just know that if they ask you to do this on your test, your answer choice is not going to be 2 over 1x. It's just going to be 2x. They don't use the 1 if it doesn't have to be written there.
Well, they
Okay.
need to
They're not going to.
cover up the whole paper.
Why? Because it's going to be kids like that that are going to be like, oh, well, that's not the same thing, and pick something else. Yes. Yes.
The person that
Okay.
was on the school board.
What do we know about this one? The slope is 6. Okay. So my change in y is plus 60. My change in x is 10. So yes, I agree. Your slope is 6 over 1. 60 over 10 reduces down to 6 over 1. Yes, you can just put 6.
Alright, hold on, can I pick our, number?
So your y-intercept. Okay. So you can do this one from the table, or you can do it like we did the last one. It's up to you. I personally would do this one from the table. It's pretty easy. Okay. So if you look at your x's, to go forward, we add 10. Well, if I go backwards, I would subtract 10. So subtract 10, and that takes me to 0. Well, if I subtract 10, I also have to subtract 60, which gives me 0. So 0, 0. So y equals 6x. You could put plus 0. Just remember on your exam, they're not going to put plus 0. They're going to leave y equals 6x.
Oh, Jesus. I was watching this movie last night, and it was called God's Not Dead. It's really good.
Go back over, you go back over.
It's really good because it's
Good.
refreshing.
Okay, let's take a look at this one. Okay, you said my slope is 3 over 2. It's negative 3 over 2. Okay, negative 3 over 2. No. Okay, so to work backwards, to get to 0, I would subtract 2. So to get my y value, I would do what? Oh,
No, you would add 3.
you would add 3. We're going in the opposite direction. So 24.
Wow.
Okay, so you've got to be very careful with your line and with your values.
So the equation is y equals 3/2 x plus 24.
You got it. Y equals -3/2 x plus 24. You may also see this as y equals -1.5 x plus 24. Okay. They may put it in a decimal. That's okay. It's the same thing.
But what if they have both of the answers on?
They can't. They're both the same. So unless they tell you, like in the instructions, pick an equation with the slope that's a decimal, they can't put both of the answers because they're both correct.
Oh,
So they would have to specify, pick the equation with the slope as a fraction or pick the equation as a slope as a decimal. Okay? Good question though.
I used to love it just for that.
now.
It gets harder when they throw the alphabet in there.
What?
Okay. Come on, this is everybody's favorite thing. We talking money. Huh?
Okay.
Does it have a degree of change? It's not a linear equation then. No, we can't because you have nothing to do with non-linear. This whole unit is linear, honey. I don't know what to tell you. We won't get to non-linear until we start the next unit with exponential. Okay. What's my slope in this one?
I don't know, but I know it's.
What's my change in y?
I don't know.
You have $90. I increased you to $130. How much do you have now? $40 difference. My hours have increased by 1. So every hour you're gaining $40. $40 an hour. I want that job. That is a pretty good job. We don't make
How much I made?
Eight.
no comment.
I thought you made a lot of money.
Yes.
$7 now.
They're making
Okay.
how much?
Y intercept 0, comma what? 0, comma 50. 0, comma 50. Because again, I need my x to be 0. Well, to do that, I have to subtract 1. So in order to get my money, then I would actually have to subtract 40, which leaves me with 50. So y equals 40x plus 50. Or 40 over 1x. Okay, try the next two on your own.
Wait a minute.
Come on, you got this. Remember, slope, changing y over changing x. One. Okay, -0.1.
-0.2.
Miss Smith, I need your help.
That looks good.
I'm gonna get it.
Bro, just look like God breaks his leg trying to work out. And you should see like, he gonna have both of his legs up. Both of his legs up before his thing. So I'm gonna push.
Oh,
As he waits on it.
Good. So now write your equation.
Like he gave up to it. I think like his foot slipped. And he just said, boom.
Steelers, man. Come on, Rashawn. You got the change tracks, make your choice.
Yeah, nothing famous.
Yes.
Is this right? I actually tried, so if I'm wrong, I'm here for it.
So you went backward by 1,
Alright, you see that
which means I need to go backward by
It was like it's like
6.
Is that a sentence?
6. You just told me it was 6. So this isn't actually 0. It's gonna be.
what the heck?
I'm smart as fuck. Ooh.
I'm not sure.
Go backward by 6. You start at 9, and go down by 6. There you go. There you go. There you go. I'm making my way around, ladies. I'm coming.
Oh, there you go.
I know, all right.
You did first one.
Okay, so this is actually gonna reduce down to 10.
Can't walk.
Oh, we gonna get you down. We're gonna.
Oh, you scared me.
His blood still circulating through
Good.
He basically knew doing like can't walk. He can talk.
Yay!
He can talk.
This one right here.
Like swimming.
You got it. It's okay.
He's just like us.
Negative 0.2. So it's going down by 0.2. It's not going down by 1.2 though. It's only going down by 0.2. Okay.
But you did.
That's the awareness because it's 0 on top of it.
You're going back.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But you had it. We'll do it this
But
way.
that's already.
That's how you get your white.
Yeah, because the wires that are going with X is 0, X is already 0.
How we do?
What?
You're supposed to be doing these ones.
Miss Smith.
I just didn't want to.
You're supposed to be doing these ones.
Is this right, Miss Smith?
That's the most hard.
Okay, so the biggest thing I'm seeing right now, most of you have gotten this first one. Okay, you realize that this is plus 6. You realize that this is plus 1. So 6 over 1. So you know then to go backwards and get 0, we have to subtract 1, which means I have to subtract 6, and that starts me off at 0, 3. Okay. So the biggest thing I'm seeing with this last one.
How you doing so?
That's 0.2.
Okay. So negative 0.2 or negative 0.2 over 2. Okay. So you're getting this far. Okay. Okay. Hold on. This is good, but 0.2 over 2 actually reduces down to negative 0.1. Okay, so that's the only thing that I'm seeing. Okay, if that's the most difficult that we have right now, I'm okay with that. Okay, so this actually reduces down to negative 0.1. Your y-intercept is 0, 1.5. So you should have y equals negative 0.1x plus 1.5. But they, what do you mean go backwards?
No, because already at 0.
It's already at 0. They already give you your y-intercept. So in this one, they didn't. They started you off at 1. To get your y-intercept, you have to figure out when x is 0. Okay.
I don't understand.
Your y-intercept is any time that x is 0.
You see how this, that is, for the y intercept, that's at the bottom right there.
Oh, it's already
0.
Yes, they already gave it to you. You don't have to work backwards to get it. Did that click now? Okay. Okay. So,
That's why I got 1.7.
okay. So be very, very careful. Sometimes they will already give you the value when x is 0. Sometimes they will not. So sometimes you have to find it, and sometimes it's already given. Okay. All right, we got one more.
Where's that? Can we get this for homework? How? Just don't give us decimals. I like this homework.
You want this one for homework?
Yes. Wait,
But it's way too early.
we can do it.
Maybe, how about maybe we'll do 3 of them and give you the last 2 for homework? Because there's 5 in
This
here.
for homework?
There's 5 in here.
I want this for homework.
You want that for homework?
I want a reading problem.
It was
Right.
like
Oh,
5.
yeah, I know you got another paper. Right, no. I want to just then, not this. Oh,
It landed like right here.
Can I go to the bathroom?
It was just sitting.
As soon as for.
Brush on your back, my face. Oh, I really use it.
All these are true stories, brother. I be seeing them, bro.
You better go in that bathroom and fix the room.
Try to go down the little slope, and he landed.
Okay.
He landed on his ankle. Like it broke.
So,
John,
again, we need to figure out what number is never going to change. That's your y-intercept. What number is changing every time? That is your slope. So, Johnny's Burger Restaurant is charging $2 for a hamburger, and they charge an additional fee of 75 cents for every topping that's added with a maximum of 8 toppings. What's your y-intercept? What's never going to change? $2. No matter what you do, they're getting charged $2. What's my slope? 0.75. Okay, so y equals 0.75x plus 2.
That'd be nice.
Okay.
Side of fries, too.
I ate that yesterday.
man.
Lexington Barbecue Center. I had a Western burger with some fries, and then Miss Cross, Miss Porter, Miss Boyle, and myself ate one of those gigantic banana splits. I was in a sugar cone bar.
Don't talk about it.
last night. Oh man, they're huge.
Side of fries, 2 apple pies.
You need something big right in my nose, and they won't need to.
You told me I could go.
I'm not putting it up there.
No, because I can't see the
Like
next.
Sprite.
Not right now. We're on this. I need you to focus on that.
I didn't know from your own.
Okay.
I like grape Kool-Aid and watermelon. You got it. You got the chip.
Be quiet.
2 apple pies.
It's done. Wait, so this all we had to do?
We're not done yet. Okay.
Oh,
So, what is X going to represent in this problem?
75.
No. How many toppings?
Oh,
This is your number of toppings. What's Y going to represent in this problem?
How much is going to cost for 7 times?
The cost of toppings. Or the cost of your burger, I guess, at the end. Okay. The cost of your burger at the end. So, they tell you how much would it cost for a hamburger if I have 7 toppings. So, where would I plug in 7 to find my answer?
What do I add?
175.
Right. No, what do I add?
Careful. What does 7 represent? Toppings. So which variable represents toppings?
Oh,
X. So it goes in for X.
I'm bored. I've been in and out like every week.
How you do? Multiply, we ain't got no calculator.
$7.25.
Well, how much? Oh,
$7.25. So if you get a hamburger with 7 toppings, what would you even put on it? Lettuce, tomato, onion.
Pickles,
Pickles.
mayonnaise. No cheese.
Always
Ketchup.
ketchup, mustard, cheese.
Cheese.
Some people,
Some people
I hate when people charge for cheese. You know, if you go to Burger King, they charge you if you get a Whopper with cheese compared to a Whopper. Their Whoppers come with no cheese. I got students that work at Burger King, so I go to
Oh,
Burger
yeah,
King.
that girl that was here.
Princess, yeah, she works at Burger King.
And then this one girl, she is mean.
I have a math.
Who?
This one girl, she got dressed.
You
She
really
worked at
know
Burger
her.
King.
I don't know who that
She
is.
is mean.
I'm a math class.
All right,
She is.
an airplane is 30,000 feet in the air, and it's beginning to descend at a rate of 2,000 feet per minute. So, what is the value that's not going to change? 30,000 feet.
Yeah, Mom.
Okay? What tells you that 2,000 is your slope? Feet per minute. Okay? So, again, look for those keywords in a word problem. Feet per minute, miles per hour. That's going to be your slope. So your equation is actually y equals 2,000x plus 30,000. What am I missing?
I want to do math.
I mean,
Something needs to change here.
Same.
It's still come.
divided?
It's what?
How long would it take to finish?
Oh,
One of these values is wrong.
30,000?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Why? What's wrong with it?
3 minutes.
No, it's feet per minute.
Down.
Think about what your airplane is doing.
Going
It's going
up.
down.
It's descending. So 2,000 should be negative. It's descending, so it should be negative. It's going down. Okay, so pay attention to your wording.
X equals number of minutes and Y equals the time.
Okay, so
Take my shoe.
you said X equals the number of minutes and Y is the feet above ground.
So,
Okay, why is the feet above ground? They want to know how long is it going to take the plane to land?
Couple of hours, maybe a couple of days.
So what value do I have that I can plug in?
No.
My plane is landing. So if I'm landing, how far above the ground am I?
Some-
0.
Wow, you
Okay. Can you? Sweet. You learn math from the toilet. It's all good. Okay. So if we're landing, we're on the ground, which means I'm at 0. So 0 equals negative 2,000x plus 30,000. I do believe that Justo's back there mumbling the fact that we have to subtract 30,000 from both sides right now.
Jesus. This is so much. This is a lot.
Well, I actually didn't.
Zero.
I actually didn't say that.
You didn't? I was just assuming because all I heard was mumble, 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 mumble. Okay. What's the last thing I have to do then? Whoa. Divide. Remember, I got to get x by itself.
Okay, well, it doesn't.
15 equals X.
So x equals what?
Positive.
Positive 15.
Oh.
So It's gonna take our plane 15 minutes to go from 30,000 feet in the air to the ground. That's pretty fast. You've never ridden in a plane?
It is so fun,
Oh, it's
especially the takeoff.
What if that plane went down?
We're gonna go to the Brad.
I went to that LA.
You better hope your parachute opens.
Are we gonna have to split this in half or we gonna do it like this?
We're gonna glue it in as a booklet. Okay, last one with me. Last one with me. Last one with me. We're gonna do all three and you're gonna have an extra homework assignment if we can't stop.
Y'all be quiet.
Sam and his company is going to make,
Shut up.
first off, you're interrupting everybody else's education, so yes. I'm addressing you.
Okay.
Okay. Sam and his company went to make and sell jackets. They must rent the equipment, which costs $150. And each jacket will cost them $10 to produce. If they have a budget of $750, how many jackets can they make?
75.
So, what is my slope and what is my starting point?
It's 60.
No, you're starting to $10.
Okay, what is 150? That's the flat out cost. For them to rent the equipment to even begin, they have to pay $150. So my y-intercept is 150. What's my slope then? $10. Every jacket they make is going to cost them $10. So y equals 10x plus 150. We have to figure out what does x represent, what does y represent. Okay, so x is going to be how many jackets am I making? So this is your number of jackets. And y is going to then be the cost at the end. Okay, so then they say, if we have a budget of $750, how many jackets can we make? Where am I taking $750 and putting it in? The Y. That's your money, so that's your cost. So that replaces your Y. So we first have to subtract 150. So $600 equals 10x. It's 60. So that means we can produce 60 jackets for $750. Yeah, but think about how much they're going to sell these jackets for. Some of these jackets you buy are like $50, $60. Oh no, like $45 for that sweatshirt. $200 for that jacket?
Yeah, for my college. Long time. That's weird now.
Ew.
I had it for a long time. Right now. Out of my closet.
Wow. It'll be a very, very cold day before I ever buy a $200 jacket. Okay.
This stuff.